Std.6th.
Hello students, previous video we see in our general science lesson, fourth number, disaster management. We learn some part of this lesson. In this lesson we learn natural disaster storms, effects of storms, forest fire, effects of forest fire. Next we learn disaster management. What is meant by disaster management? Institute work and contact them for disaster management. In this lesson, we learn remedial and preventive measures. 9 remedial and preventive measures we learn. Now today's we are going to learn remaining part of this lesson, last part, first aid and its remedial measure.
What is meant by first aid? In day-to-day life, sometimes we have to face disasters or accidents of varying proportions. On such occasions, it is necessary to give some immediate aid even before medical treatment becomes available. फर्स्ट एड म्हणजे प्रथमोपचार. दररोजच्या जीवनात आपल्याला अनेक आपत्तींना सामोरे जावे लागते. काही आपत्ती लहान तर काही मोठ्या असतात. अचानक उद्भवलेल्या आपत्तीवर वैद्यकीय उपचार मिळण्यापूर्वी तत्काळ उपाययोजना होणे गरजेचे असते. लेट अस सम एक्झाम्पल्स ऑफ डिझास्टर. फर्स्ट, एक्सटर्नल ब्लीडिंग. इफ अ पर्सन इज ब्लीडिंग, first make him sit or lie down comfortable. Keep the bleeding part of the body above the level of the heart and clean it with water. रक्तस्राव झालेल्या व्यक्तीस आराम वाटेल अशा पद्धतीने बसवा अथवा झोपवा. रक्तस्राव होणारा अवयव पाण्याने स्वच्छ करावा व तो हृदयाच्या स्तरापेक्षा उंच ठेवावा. अशा प्रकारे बाह्य रक्तस्राव झाल्यानंतर उपाययोजना करण्यात यावी. रिमेंबर, मेक द इंज्युअर्ड पर्सन सिट और lie down, clean the wound with clean water, keep the injured part above the level of the heart. Next disaster is burns and scalds. भाजणे व पोळणे. मायनर बर्न्स म्हणजे किरकोळ भाजल्यास and serious burns गंभीर भाजल्यास. What we measures remedial? See here. If minor burns किरकोळ भाजल्यास, the injured part should be washed with water or held under water. किरकोळ भाजल्यास काय प्रथमोपचार करावा? जखम झालेला भाग पाण्याने धुवा किंवा पाण्यात बुडवून ठेवा. नेक्स्ट, गिव द विक्टीम वॉटर टू ड्रिंक टू द पेशंट. पिण्यास पाणी द्या. क्लीन द वाउंड्स यूजिंग अ कॉटन स्वॅब. Soak in an antiseptic solution. निर्जंतुक पाण्याच्या द्रावणात कपडा भिजवा व जखमा हलक्या हाताने पुसून घ्या. डू नॉट अप्लाय ऑइली ऑइंटमेंट्स. तेलकट मलम लावू नका. कव्हर वाउंड्स यूजिंग ड्राय ड्रेसिंग. जखमा कोरड्या ड्रेसिंगने झाका. नेक्स्ट इज द सिरियस बर्न्स. गंभीर भाजल्यास, फर्स्ट गिव द इमोशनल सपोर्ट. मानसिक आधार द्या. कव्हर द वाउंड्स विथ स्टेरिलाइज्ड क्लॉथ. निर्जंतुक कापडाने भिजलेला भाग झाका. रिमूव्ह ज्वेलरी, शूज etc इफ इझिली पॉसिबल. दागिने, बूट काढून ठेवा. डू नॉट टच द बर्स्ट, द ब्लिस्टर्स ऑन द स्किन. Do not apply oily ointments. Do not try to Remove the cloth if it is stuck to the burnt skin. Next is if the patient is conscientious, give water to drink but avoid tea or coffee or other stimulating drinks. शुद्धीत असल्यास पिण्यास पाणी द्या, चहा कॉफी उत्तेजक पेय देऊ नका. अँड गेट मेडिकल एड ॲट वन्स. तातडीने वैद्यकीय मदत घ्या. थर्ड डिझास्टर इज sunstroke. When we work in the sun continuously for a long time, the body loses a lot of water and minerals. That is the reason for sunstroke. उष्माघात. उष्माघात हा प्रखर उन्हामध्ये जास्त वेळ काम केल्याने शरीरातील पाण्याचे व क्षारांचे प्रमाण अत्यंत कमी झाल्याने उष्माघात होतो. Listen remedial measures. First remedial measure is take the patient to a cool place or in the shade. रुग्णास सावलीत थंड ठिकाणी न्या. Sponge the whole body with cold water. शरीर थंड पाण्याने पुसा. Place a cloth sock in cold water on the neck. Give the plenty of water, liquids like sherbets to drink. पिण्यास भरपूर पाणी, सरबतासारखे पेय द्या. If the patient feels like vomiting, make him lie prone, that is on his her abdomen with the head turned to one side. जर रुग्णास उलटी झाली असेल अथवा अशक्तपणा आला असेल तर मान एका बाजूस करून पोटावर झोपवा. And get medical help or shift the patient to a hospital. तातडीने वैद्यकीय मदत घ्या किंवा दवाखान्यात हलवा. See the sunstroke.
Mr. Robert, a 65-year-old retired physical instructor, has got 2 male children, and he wants them to be successful soccer players for their nation. The elder boy's name is Mike, a 20-year-old, and the younger one's name is Stewart, who is 15 years. One very hot sunny day, Mr. Robert was training his children in an open ground. Suddenly, his younger child Stewart spoke in a slurred voice, requesting him to end the practice. Placing his hand on his forehead, he indicated that he had a severe headache. His face was flushed and irritable. After some minutes, Stewart fainted down. Mr. Robert was able to identify the symptoms as those of a heat stroke, and he had undergone similar conditions in his own childhood. He knew that a victim of sunstroke exhibits the following symptoms: severe headache and fatigue, high temperature greater than 104 degrees Fahrenheit, mental confusion, rapid breathing and rapid pulse, reddish face, sometimes loss of consciousness. Without wasting any time, he began to perform first aid on his child. He took Stewart to the shadow of the nearest tree and made him lie down. Then he removed his tight clothes, placed a wet towel over Stewart's body and poured water on his body. He offered some water to drink, but the boy could not drink. He then kept him calm for some moments and placed wet towels on his armpit, neck and groin. After some minutes, he recognized his condition remained the same as earlier. He immediately called an ambulance to take his son to the nearest hospital, where artificial respiration facilities were available. The doctor acknowledged the father's efforts in carrying out the proper emergency measures before taking his child to the hospital. He also commended him for not giving aspirin or any medication to reduce fever, as it could have worsened the condition. The doctor also explained about the importance of shifting the casualty into a cool place without any delay and taking him to a specialty hospital where facilities of artificial respiration and critical care were available. The child would have gone into severe complications or even death if the above measures had not been done at the proper time. After 2 hours, Stewart became stable and drank some fruit juice. The doctor turned to Robert and his son Stewart and explained the healthy lifestyle measures required to prevent incidents of sunstroke in future. Limit your exposure to heat and sun. Drink plenty of fluids. Drink 24 ounces of fluid 2 hours before exercise and consider adding another 8 ounces of water or sports drink right before exercise. Dress appropriately. Keep your living area cool.
Disaster is snack bite. There are nearly 2000 species of snack. सापांच्या जवळपास 2000 जाती आहेत. Of these, only a few like cobra, crickets, vipers, and sea snakes are poisonous. फक्त नाग, मण्यार, फुरसे गोणस, समुद्र सर्फ या थोड्याच सापांच्या जाती विषारी आहेत. Therefore, all snake bites are not fatal. However, fear causes severe psychological shock, which can result in death. If you come across a snake, contact Sarp Mitra rather than killing the snake at once. सगळ्यात सर्पदंशात प्राणहानी होत नाही, परंतु भीतीमुळे तीव्र मानसिक धक्का बसतो व काळजीने घेतल्यास मनुष्य दगावतो. साप आढळल्यास त्याला लगेच न मारता सर्पमित्रांशी संपर्क करा अँड टेक फॉलोइंग रेमेडियल मेजर्स. आणि उपाययोजना करा. प्रथमोपचार: वॉश द वाउंड विथ वॉटर. जखम पाण्याने धुवा. गिव्ह इमोशनल सपोर्ट टू द पेशंट. बाधितास धीर द्या. टाय अ क्लॉथ टायली ॲबो द वाउंड. दंश झालेल्या जखमेच्या वरच्या बाजूस कपड्याने घट्ट बांधा. अँड गेट इमिडिएट मेडिकल हेल्प. तातडीने वैद्यकीय मदत घ्या.
This is Mr. John. He likes to go for an evening walk in the park. One evening he was walking in the park and suddenly he was bit by something. He screamed and looked around and he realized it was a snake. He shouted for help. It is a good idea to notice the color, body scales, head, or any special characteristics of the snake because it will help the doctor to identify the venom. If you missed it, it is okay. Do not waste your time looking for the snake or trying to kill it. The most important thing is the victim should remain calm, relaxed and fearless. Otherwise, it will increase the blood flow and the heart rate, resulting in the rapid spread of venom. Do you know only 20% of the snakes are venomous, and there are 50% chances that venomous snakes will deliver a dry bite. Even if a snake has delivered a venomous bite, by following the correct treatment and measures, you can easily save yourself from any injury. One of John's friends came to help him and called the ambulance. He moved John to a safe place. The affected part of the victim should be kept immobile as much as possible while moving the victim, and it should be kept below the level of the victim's heart. The helper makes the victim sit on the floor with the affected legs stretched. Remove any tight-fitting clothes, any rings, wristwatch, etc. from the affected body part or on the wound itself. Otherwise, it might cause swelling. It is important not to cut the wound as it will increase the chances of infection. Do not suck the venom because it will only remove a negligible amount of venom and might also poison the helper. Do not eat or drink anything, particularly caffeine or alcohol, as it increases the heart rate and blood flow. Arrange a long bandage or clean cloth. Wrap up the wound loose enough to insert a finger and wrap it up till the top. Do not use a tourniquet as it could potentially restrict the blood flow to the affected area. Do not use ice on the wound because it might increase the damage. Immobilize the body part with a wooden piece or a stick and tie it with a bandage or a cloth before you transfer the victim to the hospital. The doctor can then detect the venom and administer the suitable antivenom to the patient. Presence of mind in immediate treatment can save the life of the patient after a snake bite.
Studies dog bite, कुत्रा चावणे. In a dog bite, there is a risk of infection through the blood. Hence, first aid and medical help are necessary. कुत्रा चावल्यामुळे माणसाच्या शरीरात रक्त दूषित होण्याचा धोका असतो, म्हणून प्रथमोपचाराची व वैद्यकीय मदतीची आवश्यकता असते. टेक रेमेडियल मेजर्स. वॉश द वाउंड विथ अ सोल्युशन ऑफ पोटॅशियम परमॅग्नेट और अदर अँटीसेप्टिक. जखम निर्जंतुक द्रावणाने अथवा पोटॅशियम परमॅग्नेटच्या पाण्याने धुवा. कव्हर द वाउंड विथ अ क्लीन अँड ड्राय क्लॉथ. Get doctor's help and an injection of the anti-rabies vaccine. डॉक्टरी इलाज करा, अँटी-रेबीज इंजेक्शन घ्या. नाव हिअर कंप्लीट अवर सम डिझास्टर अँड ऑन इट्स remedial measures. What we have learnt in this lesson: a sudden calamity is known as a disaster. अचानक उद्भवलेली समस्या म्हणजे आपत्ती होय. Disasters can be man-made or natural. Alertness and immediate action are necessary on such occasions. जागरूकता व तात्काळ प्रतिसाद देणे आवश्यक असते. Effective disaster management and useful use of remedial measures can help reduce the losses. प्रभावी आपत्ती व्यवस्थापन व उपाययोजनामुळे हानी कमी करता येते. Every person should know about safety precautions and first aid. दक्षतेची व प्रथमोपचाराची माहिती असणे प्रत्येकासाठी गरजेचे आहे. Thus, here complete our lesson disaster management. Solve the exercise on the lesson. या पाठावरील एक्झरसाइज जनरल सायन्स नोटबुकमध्ये सोडवा. थँक्यू.